So I run a team here where we try and understand what is happening on YouTube and why. I love my job, but it makes things like this super hard because I have 15 minutes. David had 20, but I'm not bitter. I'm not going to start out bitter. To try and cover 20 years of history of YouTube, which is bananas. So we're going to have to go fast. I'm so sorry. I apologize in advance. But I'm going to start you with one single story. So 20 years ago, when we began this crazy venture, there was a young girl who was Albanian and she'd grown up in London, but at the age of 10, 11, her family decided to move back to Kosovo. And when she moved back there, she found it really hard, culture shock, etc. And she says that one of the things that really helped her was that it happened to coincide perfectly with the launch of YouTube. And so she went to this place that was pretty monocultural and still reeling from a history of war to discover this whole window onto the world. And she was really passionate about music, loved it. So she spent her whole time watching and listening to amazing different tracks from all over the world. She was still able to listen to her heroes that she'd loved in London, but she also got this whole outlet into things that she'd never discovered before, because YouTube has such an archive. So she discovered Bowie and she discovered Prince, etc. And this inspired her to start uploading songs herself. So she started doing covers. Now, at the time, the music industry was a bit iffy about the covers that we had on YouTube, and we used to get a lot of takedown notices, etc. And it was really difficult to manage. But soon, the industry evolved and realized that actually a lot of these covers really fueled fandom, and this is how people would discover whole new music. And so there started to be this real culture of people uploading songs, but then also people reacting to them, the whole halo content around it. And that has led to YouTube becoming really the central platform for fandom. There's a lot of third-party research that corroborates this. But we started to see things like this.
Hey, this is Dua. This is my third cover, which I'm going to be putting on YouTube.
She was so young, but you can still recognize the same little voice. And she started putting these covers up, and they started getting a lot of traction. And she started doing this all through her teenage years. So much so that actually when she was in her late teens, her family decided to move back to London and make a go of this whole music thing. Which was amazing, brilliant, well done her. She started appearing on all sorts of shows, started winning awards, which led to performances like this. I keep pushing forwards, but he keeps pulling me backwards. No. Now, she is an amazing singer. I'm not here to detract from that. But these kind of performances led to comments like this. So this was a comment that happened immediately after this performance from a guy called Tobias. Go girl, give us nothing. Now, as you can see, this resonated with a lot of other people. They just loved her lack of energy. It was meant affectionately, and this led to this becoming an actual meme. This is a website called Know Your Meme, brilliant website if ever you're trying to understand anything. So many people keep coming up to me asking me about 6-7. Go to Know Your Meme, it will tell you everything. And this became a really big, known catchphrase everywhere. So much so that she really embraced it herself. So when she would appear on different shows, and of course, like the music industry, understanding fandom and the value of uploading their content to YouTube, TV stations too now, and a lot of TV stations actually create their content with YouTube in mind because it's a much bigger audience for them. So you get clippable, memeable bits that are uploaded. She really understood, because she was a huge YouTube fan, of the value of embracing this meme herself.
And there's people who called my dancing lazy and said, go girl, give us nothing. But I didn't give you nothing. I gave you the greatest meme of all time.
Good for her, embracing internet culture, and it really worked. So we started to see even now, we see years later, because the community is so strong on YouTube and the fandom is so great, you see these comment sections really come to life, and no matter what she does now, no matter how accomplished she is, there are still people who come and thank Tobias for that comment because she has become such an amazing star because she embraced it and recognized it. Which led to things like this, where she's now the star who has the most popular performance on Tiny Desk. So Tiny Desk is this amazing show that is hosted on YouTube by NPR, where pop stars, huge and often some like smaller ones who get discovered that way, come and do a different performance of their music. So they change the style a little bit. So she has the most popular one. She's one of the few artists who's been invited to appear twice. Well done, her.
I need something that'll make me believe. If you got it, baby, give it to me. Say I come, then I go. Tell me all the ways you.
See, she's not giving nothing. She's let. But one of the stories I read recently that I loved so much was that NPR, who hosts these, keep winning awards for their journalism, but particularly for their war correspondence. And I was reading this article that was saying one of the reasons why they think this has happened is because whenever NPR journalists go somewhere to try and get a story, people are happy to go and talk to them because they recognize the logo from Tiny Desk concerts, and particularly soldiers in war areas feel that connection and their escapism that they're allowed to have through Tiny Desk concerts. So well done them. But then, of course, we've seen all sorts of different performances come onto the platform. For example, because she really understands the value of that fandom and that global audience, she insists, quite rightly, on democratizing access to her music. And so when she did a performance at the Royal Albert Hall, she made it live streamed on YouTube. This has nearly 50 million views now. And I love that because YouTube changed the way we viewed entertainment in terms of, anybody could be an entertainer. But it also has opened up that access to people who are fully fledged entertainers. Anybody around the world can do that. So, the Royal Albert Hall is pretty elitist, pretty expensive, but she's given it away for everybody to enjoy it too, which I love. And because she really understands the platform, she's engaged in all sorts of different formats. So all the different interview formats which are possible, in all their different imaginative ways, she will be there and she will find a way to have that conversation, which really, again, obviously fuels that fandom. And she understands it so very well that actually she has become a creator herself, hosting interviews. So how many of you have seen her channel, Service 95? Okay, well done to you guys. If you haven't, please go and watch it. So she actually hosts this channel that is totally dedicated to culture. And one of the things she does is she interviews authors all the time. And she is so good at these interviews that I recently was reading an article where it said she is the best literary critic of a generation. She is amazing. And it's now come to this funny situation where because YouTube has these such a ripple effect of this halo content, we now have other people in the book community making videos about her videos about books.
What's special about these Dua Lipa interviews? They trade the slick patina of TV production for something simpler and more authentic. The more you watch them, the more you'll see there's no way she's pretending to be interested.
Yeah, kids are...
Well done.
Hey.
She's one of us.
She's really, really good. Now, back in 2005, when she was having ambitions of becoming a pop star, I was teaching in a really rough comprehensive school in South London. And I had a particularly cheeky kid who would come in every day for years and say to me, "Oh, miss, why have you got another book on your desk? Are you still too poor to buy a telly?" And that same kid is now engaged to Dua Lipa. So, yay, well done. She has taught him the error of his ways. But what I really enjoy about knowing about the book community is actually that a lot of times people talk about how young people aren't reading anymore and it's a real problem. It is a problem, I know it is a problem. But one of the ways that people really engage with reading is through YouTube. And so when we look at our top trending topics every week and we look at ages 13 to 24, often there are topics around books. So 3 out of the 10 might be related to books. And I think it's partly a reflection of the fact that all this third-party research that comes out, actually the New York Times covered it and Forbes covered it earlier this year, of how YouTube is the only platform that people under the age of 25 feel enriches their life. And they feel that gives them a sense of belonging, but actually betters them as people. So that really helps them derive value from it. So all of this to say, even though I love love watching, of course I do. It's also very important to watch books. So go check out some of Dua Lipa's content, and thank you very, very much for having me.